it is important to have that diversity of poses to be able to introduce variety, and we can do that with the character weights as well to kind of force that here. So let's take a look at what we got off of this first result, and it really does work to be able to have multiple poses of the cat, because now it's consistently with a hoodie. There's always at least four tires. There's always four tires on the skateboard. It's way more consistent in that regard. That's awesome. But if we now switch this to a character weight of like 0, I'm curious if it's able to preserve all those details, because these are the patterns that we're looking out for, so that we know how reliable this is moving forward. 4 DVD screen caps in a grid of a stop motion film depicting a cat doing a kickflip with a skateboard, AR69, and then the character weight is set at 0, with a style reference from I Troll For You. And that style reference is the Battle of Galveston. Okay, great. Good job. And you can see what sort of influence that has, where suddenly everything looks like it was shot in the same color palette or color tone. There's a treatment that's done on films that where they do a color correction, right? A pass on the color. And oftentimes that's where they ruin movies, in my opinion. They add like too much sepia tone. They oversaturate the crap out of the movie, or they make everything look green. Like it's amazing how often you basically, like, everything just looks like it's an Instagram filtered. That's really what happens a lot with style referencing, is that you're evoking the aesthetic themes without the context of it. While with character referencing, it's like all the context without the style necessarily dominating the result. So you can see we got some really fun results out of that. But when we set the character weight to 0, suddenly not only is it a different cat, sometimes it's not even a cat. We have like raccoons. We got but they're all bug-eyed in the same way as the original, because the character reference, again, it's like kind of honing in on the face, right? So like the lower your number is, the more likely it just looks at the eyes and the like facial structure. Also, character referencing in Niji works differently than character referencing in V6. So you may get completely different results by running it in Niji instead of in the standard Midjourney. And the way you can test that is by rerunning the prompt and then go to where it says V6 and change it either just to Niji or Niji 6, whichever one. I think both work fine. So I am more than curious to see what you guys are able to do with this. There's just some really fun results that come off of doing these group collabs with you guys. And when it comes to this in particular, you could see that this at least when it came to changing this to Niji, suddenly everything is like 3D, or otherwise just looks like it's like animated in some way that isn't stop motion at all. And that you're far less likely to get good stop motion aesthetic with Niji than you would be with standard Midjourney. So this is all super cool, and we're having a lot of fun with these cats here. I need to take a quick drink here, but if you guys have any requests, but also if you have any like if you want me to dig into my old work or whatever, I'm happy to find something. I'm sure. I'm curious how those guys would take it, but yeah, it's in terms of like old Robot Chicken stuff. If you haven't been here before, I worked on the Star Wars specials for Robot Chicken. I also did. I worked on all of Titan Maximum, and let's see what others. I did a bunch of State Farm ads, and. What was there anything else? There was I think there was 1 or 2 other projects mixed in there, but all these are stop motion from a company called Shadow Machine. And after I left, it was about 3 or 4 years after I left, they started production on BoJack Horseman. So they shifted to it as a 2D animation studio, and the stop motion element of all that became largely a different company called Stupid Buddy. Seth Green owns Stupid Buddy, but he also was, very important at Shadow Machine too. So it's like all these are like, largely the like similar groups of people. And we, at least in my experience of like working in the studio, the system over there, it has a lot to do with whether or not whether you jive with other folks. Like the number one mistake that I made when I worked for Robot was that I went home at the end of every day. Like as soon as 5 o'clock came up, I treated it like a normal job. I just went home. And my wife would be waiting for me, and she was either waiting for me or coming home from school herself. And at this point, I had not realized the mistake I had made, where I was. You really get to know your coworkers off of work, like either going to a bar or maybe like a social event for the company. I avoided those because I was a little introverted kid or whatever at the time. And I say kid, like I was in my early 20s, but still like I just did not see the value of networking. And my main regret is not networking with those guys more when I was there. I networked with them plenty afterward, but it was really about during the time there. It's like camaraderie of knowing each other and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any interest in doing anything related to entertainment industry at all, I just know that it's going to be a job that you don't stop. Like you when 5 o'clock rolls around, you're not going home. You're going to be finding something else to do that will, keep you within the social circles of people. It's very hard to be an editor, like a visual effects guy, because you're constantly stuck behind a computer. And all these things happen outside of the studios, So, yeah. But it is true for other industries too. Networking is key. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just in entertainment, a lot of people assume that like I just need to show them my reel or my portfolio, and that will do everything. But honestly, like out of all the jobs I applied for, I think it's been dozens at this point. I've only had 2 that actually watched my reel before I did the interview. It's not valued the same way. What's more valued is your recommendations, is somebody they know going, oh yeah, this guy's great. That goes so much farther than having a lengthy or really well cut reel or anything like that. I would recommend, finding a great collaborator who can speak for you. That'll help a lot more. So, I'm going to scroll up through these prompts here for a bit and let you guys get any sort of questions and things into the voice chat here. I need to take a drink for a moment, so I'll be right back. But, feel free to ask anything inside of VC text. And I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on trying to build out a complete character sheet for either this cat or whoever you guys want to do. Just let me know inside of VC text. I'll be right back.
Hello. I don't know if you guys can hear me now. Victor maybe didn't. I don't know. Hi. I've restarted.
And anyone other than me here, Kinky.
Am I real? Am I a real girl or just a figment of AC's imagination?
Can anyone hear either of us, rather?
I don't know. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear both of you guys.
Okay.
Rhapsody says silent, so apparently she can't hear either of us.
Oh.
Or she was reacting to no one responding.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, now I'll be back in just 2 minutes, guys. Or no, 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. No, we can hear. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you, Troll. Thanks a lot, Rhapsody. I want to play with this so much. I want to make it evil Rhapsody. Naughty girl. I want to play with him. So Malsphere came up with a name. I forget what it was, but I liked it a lot. And you guys came up with a name over here too. Cat. Rhapsody chose Scat. And Malsphere chose, it was in the basic create. Let me find it. Was this Carlos? Did you make this cat originally, or did Victor? Oh, Malsphere said Warzu, Warzu. I think is adorable also. Maybe we can make a poll for what the cat's name should be. Since he's instantly beloved by us all. He's so cute. Did anyone else have any name suggestions for Le Kitty? Scat or Warzu so far? I don't know if you heard what we were talking about. There were 2 name suggestions for the cat. We have Scat, Cat, and Warzu.
I like Scat, even though I'm worried that I'm gonna vote for Scat, but I do worry that the result is gonna like you should prompt for Scat.
Warzu the globby eye scale menace. Skate menace, yes. Warzu the globby eye skate menace. It's funny that the two people that suggested the names are from Germany. Do they know each other? Is this a German thing?
Is it a German No. Let's go ahead and
nip that in the bud.
nip that in the bud. Yep. I'm gonna say that whoa, I like the wide angle lenses. That's pretty cool. Is it wow, okay, yeah, so like anytime, let's see what the style reference is here for the wide angle lens. Okay, yes, yeah, so you use a like a contextually relevant style reference to kind of force the imagery to be in line with like skateboard videos, right? So wide angle lenses and stuff. At least for what I see here is like at least what the potential is for this here is that we could make a whole skate video with this cat here. So like we'll upres this one because it's already been upres. And the thing is like this is gonna bother me if I don't fix this first. And it will be important to fix this kind of stuff early because everything is referred upon based on the visual imagery that's inside of your prompt when you're doing variations, right? So the more work that you put into, most often we'll end up with better quality like neighboring panels and things whenever we're doing these kind of zoom expansions and stuff. So I'm just going to select those tires here and fix that because everything else is pretty legit. I love the graffiti in the background. I love that it's kind of themed like the cat, like as if this entire world is just, skateboarding like a furry Tony Hawk or something like that. I think that's a pretty fun idea. I love how it's half cat and then person. on this topic. It's not silly. But you guys can essentially expand off of these and be able to build entire moments. But it's really important to get them as clean as possible. And this matters a lot more for the for the comic book prompts that we'll get into probably a little later. But you could see that it didn't get the end of the skateboard right. You know, like it got the tires in a better position now, but it still doesn't understand that there's a lip that curves up into here. And I want you guys to actually see this because I think this is from the character. Right? Oh, maybe not. This isn't using the one that Kinky made, but usually you'll start to see these artifacts like inside of the results. So like when we were looking at that reference earlier, where is it? Just a second. This one here. If we look at the earlier reference, look at the back side of the skateboard there. Notice it's like the same pattern of like a failed upper, like, or the curve is too strong there. We can assume that that is like a common pattern or behavior that we see now. By the way, this cat like grabbing the corner, he's about to hook a sharp turn. Amazing. Like this is great. But in terms of like seeing these kind of patterns and stuff, it just basically lets us know what kind of workload we have moving forward. So, and I see all these great cats. But if I now select whichever one I think has the best tires, so I'm going to say this third one here. I'm going to try to finish up the end of this skateboard to a little bit be manipulated in the right direction here. So let's go ahead and select that pretty tightly. And we need to imagine where the rest of the skateboard is. So you can see the line comes up to here, which means that we probably want to go even a little deep into the tire and then come up a little bit here. Because we're doing vary region and technically it's not in painting, there is a little bit of fudging, like a little bit of like wiggle room around the area that you're selecting. So generally speaking, the tighter it is of a region that you're selecting around the subject that you want to change, generally the smaller it becomes because it tries to like constrain within the area that you have. But if you select a much wider area, a much larger area around what you're trying to fix, it'll oftentimes make things even bigger because it just has more room to do it usually. So, if you notice, we got exactly what we needed here, which is a much more believable curve of the end of the skateboard here. So I'm going to select the fourth one. And we can even see that it has a fun pattern, like a fun design on the bottom of the skateboard that's kind of in line with the graffiti behind it. If we wanted to, we could actually give a description of the kind of image that's on the board itself. So I'm going to come in and do a real tight in paint of just the deck itself. And you can see there's a little bit of funkiness when it comes to the actual like bottom of the skates here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. So there's a lip over the roof here because this is a California style high school, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but California has a lot of open air schools. So the schools are basically you walk outside. Like if you think of like every high school drama from like the 80s and 90s, it's that open air high school environment. So that lip that hangs over here on its own may confuse some of the rest of the imagery that's here. So I tend to select little doodads and things that are nearby just to go, all right, don't get confused by that. So let's go ahead and submit that and see what it does. But we could actually change the design on that board too. I kind of forgot to change the prompt there. So let's go ahead and say, a Junji Ito inspired skateboard, just to give us a different art style entirely to this back here. But I'm also going to get rid of the style reference, which will basically divert the result less from what is a Junji Ito inspired skateboard design. And And I'm going to get rid of the character reference because what we're working on isn't the character, it's the skateboard. So we don't want any constraints in that regard. So get rid of all the parameters except for, the version and the aspect ratio. And what essentially will happen is it lets us be able to say, all right, all the rules, all the constraints that I had earlier, they are ignore them because I just want you to focus on the underside of this skateboard here. And it could very well not give us anything usable. We'll have to see. But it's always a little bit of a crapshoot in that regard. So let me close this all and open it here. And I would say that all 4 of them are not Junji Ito inspired. that's the too bad. But at the very least, we got all the skateboard treads, all that stuff looking way better than before. And it largely comes from inpainting this entire section that's here. So I'm gonna say the third one, just to get us somewhere. Boom. Okay. And now that we have a clean deck, a clean jump, kick flipping cat here, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit custom zoom and we are going to try to predict what frames came before and after this. And I keep saying that it's not actually predicting anything. It's a pattern thing. It's noticing that, oh, okay, if you ask for grids of things or grids of shots or storyboards or whatever, most likely the storyboard will feature a scene and then it will and then it will see that there's like neighboring or similar characters in the next panel. So it goes, oh, okay, maybe we should keep that similar pattern again, and just sees that. It's just amazing that it can do that. But what we're gonna do is say DVD screen caps of skateboarding cat at California High. Sure. At California High School. Okay. And then I'm switching the aspect ratio to 2:5. Again, forcing a vertical panel layout. If you guys have any questions, if I'm going too fast or too slow, today might be a too slow kind of day. If I'm throwing you off at all, feel free to message inside of VC text. Let me quickly show you guys how to do that, because I haven't gone over that since the beginning. But if you're here in Discord, you could scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see that there's some voice channels. VC text and VC create are right above the stage where we're talking right now. And in VC create, that's where we're prompting together. You can see we got some real fun animated cats coming. But in VC text, that's actually what's here on the left side of the screen. So if I pull it up for you guys here, on the left side of your screen, you can see the chats that show up here. So if you type anything and whatnot, you'll show up in the stream. So the streams get uploaded to YouTube. It takes me about a week to get them done. But overall, it is a fun way to be able to have you guys participate and make things together. So at least for me, like if we take a look at what this skateboarding cat is doing here, I want to essentially force it to make these panels, and you can see that we're getting a result here where it's the wide angle lens is just dominating these results. It's like a reflection in the water. It's trying to like mimic and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try a couple different things to force panels out of this. First thing we can do is to drop the style. So I'm going to hit S and then switch it to 85. Just drop it below the default. What is the default for stylize? Actually, I don't actually know. Is it 100?
That's
100. Yeah. So you can go up to 1,000 on stylize. But in my hello. But in my experience, higher stylization, especially when you're trying to maintain a certain character style, will oftentimes bring it to a place that isn't what you intend it to be. It's it'll like, you could see when we dropped the style, it made it did less work to create these images, and it's really cool, like to see the reflections being realistic or looking decent, but it's still not DVD screen caps of a cat, you know? So we have another method that we can try out, which is comic panels, I mean, not comic book panels, just comic panels of a skateboarding cat. And I'll keep the style low for now. We could, like we did earlier, we could make the aspect ratio even more extreme, right? So I'll switch this from 2.5 to 1.3. And then the last option is actually to refer to a paneled or layout in a style reference, because that's a great way to effectively force the aesthetic. What are you guys doing? This is too funny. I love this. I love this bend. This like leaning. He's about to take the turn. That kind of. This will be a great like exploring the town kind of start to a prompt here. All these seem like they're kind of traveling through a little Japanese market, which is pretty cute. And okay, all right, we finally got it here. So by saying comic panels instead of screen caps, look at this. It saw like the pattern of, oh, these are the same moment but in 3 different takes, and it did it. Like the cat is basically doing a 180, or he's like hanging to the camera, and that's so cool. That top right result is awesome. And you can see that they're already up. You guys are already up-resing it. You also have another result that was useful. This one is the DVD screen caps California High, but extending the aspect ratio to 1.3 also worked. So both of my alternatives so far worked for generating a believable scene or believable multi-panels. So the bottom here, it's like it's taking way more of the warp, like way more of the wide angle warp to the point of unbelievable bending. And the bottom is just a reflection of the top. So you can, if you're like, this is taking me somewhere interesting, but it's not good enough yet, then you can just in-paint the panels as well. So come into here, select those, select these, and you can see that there's a break here now because we have like 2 separate, like there's a break in the skyline. Take advantage of that. Make sure you only in-paint the section just above wherever the line is, so it preserves it almost like a border or edge, and it will try to replicate that into the other parts of the image too. So it's really cool. As long as you are generally only leaving behind on your in-paint what you really want to keep, it'll only build off of what's there. Okay, let me see the questions here. We got a couple questions. Filmmaker Zach says, anyone else notice sometimes character consistency doesn't do very expressive emotions on faces? Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. That's actually kind of by design. In order to get the diversity of expressions and emotions that come off of that stuff, you actually either need to drop your character weight significantly, or more likely, what is actually the best way to do it is to build a character sheet that has multiple expressions on it. So let's actually double back to Kinky's prompt with the sheet, the character sheet for this cat. So I need to find the original prompt. It's not too far back. It's amazing how many things we make this quickly, right? So right now we have this image here. What I can do is I can hit custom zoom again. And I'm going to get rid of the character reference. And instead, I'm going to write multiple expressions. Black cat in red hoodie. Just that, just a little teeny description and me asking for multiple expressions. It could be, you can even say multiple poses in order to get maybe even different, like, action shots with the cat. I guess the key thing is that as we start to expand here, there's a very good chance that the expressions that it makes are all the same expression. Okay. And they may not even be that usable. Like they are. Why does he have a sword? But like there's more often than not, the expressions that it generates will be largely the same. So there was a thing that kind of got trending, or at least was seen by a bunch of folks on Threads, about someone who was giving a character tutorial, like basically a knockoff. And I say knockoff of my tutorial because of just how badly they did explaining how this stuff works. They showed an example of how to generate character sheets with Midjourney, and the character sheet had all the faces had the exact same expression of a guy in pain. It's just, and because of the person who wrote the tutorial has no animation experience, no experience to be able to tell that there should be a diversity of faces on that sheet. They were dragged through the mud for promoting that tutorial. So, yeah, essentially what we want to do here is let's first convert it to Niji, or just style transfer to Niji. I guess maybe it's not style transfer. I don't know what the right wording for this is yet, but basically we're going to switch to Niji 6 to do the multiple expressions prompt to kind of get us, hopefully, just a bunch of close-ups of faces. And if not, we can even drop the stylize and go from there. And I see Ancient's already prompted Victor, so I'm curious what's coming up here. It's probably something with that damn black cat. But let's see here. I Troll for You said you need to lower your character weight, and yeah, thank you so much for going through that. I appreciate that. I Troll for You. Okay, let's take a look at this. So with multiple expressions, we got a couple of them. Like there's a kind of like, kind of spooked. And then, different wide-eyed, different pupils, that kind of thing. But these are not diversity of like faces. Like we're not getting joy, anger, happiness, all that kind of stuff. We're getting a little closer with this fourth one here, but it'll be a lot easier for us to just prompt at this at the start now. So like, essentially, like, let me try one more thing. I'm going to try one more thing, which is we're going to drop the styles as well as switch to Niji. So I'm dropping it to 50. And I can even ask for like multiple faces, and that will also give me the expressions. But the whole reason we're doing this is because you want to be able to character reference not only the pose of your character, but also the expression of your character all in one. So when it comes to the actual, reference you use, not only does it match your character's design, but it also matches the mood or the persona of your character, basically. There's a lot of examples that we can go through of different expressions, different ways the characters can look to evoke a certain mood. But generally speaking, when you have the diversity in front of you, you can either use the entire sheet as the character reference and kind of gamble at what your results are going to be, or you can use specific images from your character sheet to kind of guide that more closely. So in terms of the results that we got here, they're okay. It's just we're not getting the diversity of close-ups that I need, but we are getting some really fun, like, separate poses and stuff. So like, let's just look at this one really quick. We lost the skateboard for most of it. That's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of a bunch of like unnecessary poses, and then we'll try that out here. So let's just grab this whole chunk here, this whole chunk here. And you know what? Let's just go nuts. Let's just go select all of this except for the cat standing without the skateboard. And then I'm going to say multiple expressions, and we don't need to write a black cat and a red hoodie because he's already featured in the prompt here. Okay. So now I will inpaint that multiple expressions, and we could even inpaint another one and say multiple poses as well. So if I said multiple poses using skateboard, and I'm all running under lower styles now, so we'll probably amp it up after we get a decent result or two.
I love this. This is good. My brain's going like 8 right now.
Good. There's a lot you can do with this. It's pretty ridiculous. So we got a lot better expressions because we got rid of the redundancies, right? So it's not trying to replicate the redundancies. It's trying to basically fill in, and it gives us, like, we really want to find a back of the head and multiple expressions or multiple poses that gives us a really good diversity with this character. And at least what I'm seeing here is the fourth one seems to be the best option out of this result here. Out of these results, probably the third, but I'm going to stick with this fourth one for now because I want to show you guys this. If we are, is this the result that I picked? Is it? Yeah. Did I mean to grab that one? Yes. I want the back of the head though. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, I was paying attention to the wrong detail. Okay. So we're gonna give it specific expressions now. Okay. So we're gonna say multiple expressions, multiple sad expressions. We're gonna first make a sad cat. So we'll come into here and select everything that we don't really like. So I'm going to keep the back of the head. That's a very, very useful result to have. We're going to keep him like open-armed and like wide-eyed and whatnot to kind of enforce that style here. And then the rest of them, I'm going to get rid of it. So even the underside one here, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to try to select as much stuff that isn't part of this that, basically I'm just getting rid of anything that could distract or otherwise change the result of this prompt. So now I have multiple sad expressions and I'm going to hit submit. And then depending on how clean the faces are laid out and stuff, we should be able to select each individual face. So as soon as we pick our favorite sad result, kind of funny to say, take our favorite sad result, and then, excuse me. Ooh. And then we delete the rest of them and replace it with a different expression. Okay. So we have here these sad cats. Look how they're not oftentimes going to be sad on their own. We did drop the style pretty hard, so that one's pretty good. I like the kind of like frumpy face. The tiny sad cat is really funny to me. So let's do that. So that's the second one here. There's a couple of grumpy cats too, but we'll prompt that next. So we have this kind of like, and the eyeballs are kind of changing around and whatnot, but I am liking the diversity we get because we have a goofy, we have a like kind of like, bracing for impact, little wide-eyed or whatever. We have a bit of an anxiety or worry here, confusion. And then this top right one kind of doesn't really do anything. So let's go ahead and swap those ones out for the last ones we need. So let's do yawning or tired or exhausted next. And you don't really need to stick to one. So like we have these here. I do like that pose from earlier, but we can always combine these into the same one later. So for now, I'm just going to select this whole section here. And then I'm going to say, yawning, tired, cat, expression. And we'll see what that does. You might be wondering like why my results are coming up so much faster than the others. That's because I am using turbo mode. It does expend on your account quite heavily. So be very cautious before using it. It's like fast mode on crack when it comes to the speed. But you get to it by going to settings. And then you'll see in /settings, you actually have all of your different modes and things that you can turn on or off. Some of them are just parameters for me, like style raw. I'll just turn on and off as I need by applying a parameter for it. Most of you guys are probably using relax mode right now, which is not going to tax on your account if you have a $30 or more account. Fast mode will take up your fast hours, and turbo mode will do so with a multiplier. I think it's 4 times, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I forgot what that was, but it will cost you more on your account to run it in turbo mode. So if you're curious about that, that's what that is. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at these expressions here. Remember, the only thing we changed about this image here is the center. It'll consume up to 4 times as much. Thank you so much, Sharon, the FAQ bot. I appreciate you, bot man. And I know that it was Malsbeer that did. So thank you so much for putting that answer up on there. I really should use that bot more often whenever I stream stuff like this, but yeah. Okay. So let's try to find a tired, exhausted cat here. I think the 4th result is kind of our best bet. Just because it's like, closed-eyed and whatnot. We probably want to change out 1 or 2 of these poses here, but it's also not a full body. Like we don't necessarily need a full body, but we definitely want either a close-up of the head or not, like either one or the other. So I'm actually going to go back on this one, hit vary region again, and I'm going to say close-up of yawning, tired cat expression. And then we'll submit that. But I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I know I am. It's been a bit of a uneventful week until suddenly it just all started popping off like crazy. And I'll get into another artist here who made some fan art for me here in a minute. But I mostly want to go over these characters, at least get the character sheet done before I distract myself with that. So let's see here. Oh, I'm glad to hear, Malsbeer. Okay. So let's do the third one. I think the third one's great. And the reason I say that is because we got the tired cat. The middle one here, that's a tired cat to me. Okay. So what we traded for with the skateboard, because the skateboard prompts were giving us constantly a very similar expression, which is, someone who's trying hard, right? Like that's what, if you're doing skateboarding, right? Like you're going to have a very focused face and stuff. And you're not going to be like, goofy. Look how goofy I am for the camera. You're going to be doing you're going to have goofy feet instead. So what we're going to do is, now that we have this character sheet here, we can take this and we could just run it as a character reference all at once. So we'll first do that. So we'll say on a skateboard, just to get things started here, on a skateboard, CRF post. And again, I'm doing this in V6. If you run a style reference like you're seeing Boken and other folks doing on the stream, you will be able to force it or constrain it to a specific style. But for this here, we see if we just prompt on a skateboard and we have the character reference, it doesn't see it as a cat necessarily. It just sees it as this big-eyed thing, like with a red hoodie, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first write cat, just so we can see if we can get a result that's a little more like the other stuff we're working on. But what I'm going to show you guys next is we need to isolate a specific pose or face for the character referencing in order to actually control these results. You can control some of it with text and whatnot, but it's so much more control to just draw this in yourself. Okay. So on skateboard cat, great. Awesome results. I love these, that kind of thing. So if you notice, I troll for you upres this one, right? But the expression is more like almost like deer in the headlights. Like there's like you're in the incoming car and this is what you see. That's what I imagine for this phase. But what if we wanted it to more be like he's afraid to stumble or fall over, you know, that kind of thing. Then we probably want a more fearful face, right? So what I'm going to do is I have Photoshop open here. Let me just finish opening it. And I'm going to grab our new expression sheet here. This one here. And inside of Photoshop, just a second. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to be a little low here. Sorry, guys. It is kind of, let me move myself up a little bit. There we go. Okay. I did get complaints about covering up my layers and stuff in Photoshop when doing Twitch streams and stuff. So, actually, I got a little notification here. Oh, Gimpy Sticks subscribed to me on Twitch as well as Lemmy. Oh, thank you guys so much. You guys are like my second and third subscribers on Twitch. That's hilarious. Or fourth subscriber, whichever. It's. I don't have a lot of subscribers. Thank you guys so much. That's so cool. And we're not streaming on Twitch right now, but I do stream on Twitch most Sundays, and I'm trying to stream during the week more often. It's a little hard to do, but yeah. I definitely am happy to see that. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for linking that, Kinky. But what I mostly want to show you guys here is just how to properly use character referencing with sheets. So let's take that middle one here, this one right here, because it makes the most sense for the expression that this cat has. And we're going to just copy this as its own character reference. So we'll come into here, select this with a marquee tool, and we're going to copy it and then hop us back over to Midjourney here. And then we're going to paste that image that we copied as just a link that we can grab. You can use anything that gives you a .png, .jpeg, whatever, as long as it has an extension at the end of it and it's some web or WebP stuff works too. Not all of it, but some of it. We can now come into here, hit vary region. We're going to swap the character reference that's inside of this here, and then in paint the face only. Because remember, we did already all the puppetry by just with the entire character sheet itself. And now we are isolating down the character sheet to the exact expression we want this pose to have. So essentially two different character references when it comes to actually implementing this. And if it looks weird, photo bashy or whatever, we just lower the character weight and hopefully it'll tie everything back together. Oh, he's wide-eyed. We could tell that. Let's see how effective this is.
I think it's coming together.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. It's goofy. It's funny. Like I like that the eyes are way more evoking fear. And now, if we were like, okay, this is close, but it's not the exact expression that's on the character sheet, right? It's like, yeah, it's wide-eyed, but the teeth aren't there. It doesn't have the little worry bubbles on the side of it, which you probably won't make would V6 on its own. So what we're gonna do is we can actually double this up. Essentially, take the character reference link, and I'm gonna now paste this in front of the prompt. So it's gonna do an image blend where it blends this image, the prompt itself, and then after that's done, it'll take the character reference. And if this still doesn't look exactly how I want it to be, there's one last thing you can do, which is, I'm going to say one last, there's a million things you could do, but we could drop the character weight to 0, but then set the image weight to 3. That essentially will force whatever is inside of your image blend to be the most dominating aspect of your prompt. and we'll just have to see how well that does. It'll look far more photo bashed by doing this. So you could see that only really the second and the fourth one are actually colored the correct way. Now we're starting to lose the environmental coloring within the eyes because we're starting to force or superimpose parts of the image more. And now look what happens here. If I go full like no stops on this, not only are the eyes completely cartoony in line with the character reference, but they technically break the rules of the world entirely. There's no shading on the eyes whatsoever, while everything else is realism. So there you go. That is a great way to essentially break it without necessarily using chaos or any of the stuff that normally would break the world rules of your prompt. Yeah. So at this point, guys, I've gone over, a good chunk of what I had planned to already when it comes to like the storyboarding stuff. I'm going to get into some comic books. I'm not going to end it. I still have a whole other hour here, guys. So hang out with me at least. I would love to hear from you guys on the stuff you all want to make. I've been dabbling a lot about skateboard cats. I really want to I really want to diversify off of this. So if there's any other prompts, feel free to put them into VC Create. I see there's a couple from Ancient involving Victor here, so I'll have to check those out here in a minute.
Just the regular prompting things you say.
It is kind of funny. So like when you said like the idiot sandwich one last time, which was hilarious, by the way. When the idiot sandwich ones were coming up, you wrote it as comic book panels depicting and then just the text, like just the quote of whatever I was saying. I was kind of fascinated how it was interpreting the phrasing and then going, okay, maybe this is what should visually accompany that. I don't really know. I don't know what it's doing when it was prompting like that.
It's something that I've been doing since we were testing V6. Like if you prompt with just a quote, it tries to interpret the quote into the entire scene as well as the text.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating to me. Yeah, because it's like the text shows up in random places, right? Yeah. Like a sign here or whatever, but it will also contextually try to make sense of the phrase in a way. Like this came up about 2 streams ago with Legal Beagle, where he was like, that is the speech bubbles were not coming up for what he was typing. And I said, because you have to write with a speech bubble that reads, if you just say like, he's saying this line, it kind of prompts the mouth shape almost. It's like, I don't know how much bias or how much placebo I'm experiencing with this, but sometimes when I quote certain words, it will look like it's saying those words as opposed to making a speech bubble for it. I troll for you. Comic book panels, idiot sandwich. That's great. Bizarre stuff. Okay, let's show. Okay, that's a sandwich calling him an idiot. So that's what I want. So let's take this. And I have one of my characters saved inside Midjourney. We haven't talked about this at all. This is probably the best place to jump off of this. This is why it's so important for you guys to make things with me. So there's a way to save your character, whether it's all the links that you have to make up your character prompt or even just one link, or a common prompt you use all the time. And that is called /prefer. And thank you for the TF2 reference there. But if we now do /prefer, and you'll notice that it says option set. So /prefer option set. Okay. We can come into here, select this, and we made up a name for the cat with it's Warzu. So we'll name him Warzu. That's the name. And then under it's a little bit hidden, but you have to click the +1 here, and you'll see it says value. Click on value. And then whatever is inside of that value is what your character like prompt is, right? So like we got to find the cat, the one that we had taken the sheet from. Here's the character reference link. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take this link, and inside of the value, I'm going to paste it. You can blend a ton of images in order to make a single character reference or whatever you want to do. It'll always be the result of whatever that blend is. So keep that in mind. But now that we have Warzu as a name saved in Midjourney under this value, like this link, I hit submit. And now whenever I type --Warzu, it's going to replace it with that link. Oops, I forgot that I need actually to put in something in the prompt. Hold on. I forgot there's only one link in there. So if I do --Warzu, and then I'll say cat commander, why not? And then Niji 6, you could see that it replaced the Warzu with just the link that was included inside of that command. It's extremely helpful for if you have a prompt that you just type a million times over. It's pretty helpful for that. But when it comes to just saving tons of links, it's great to be able to be like, okay, I want to have one of my characters show up in a comic, right? So I'll take the one with the idiot sandwich here. I'll do a variation subtle. I'll add a character reference to the end of that. And then I'll add Michael to it, which is a character from my Tumbling Up series with Sage and Michael. It's a comic book series, and you could see there's roughly 10 images that make up Michael. And those 10 images are all just kind of full bodies, or torso shots, but they're most common shots that I use when making the comics. They're meant to be expressive, and none of them are identical. As soon as you incorporate similar elements to both, to any of they kind of cancel each other out. So like if you take a 3D model, for instance, and you just turn that 3D model slightly to the left and to the right, it is far less effective. It's going to make very sterile results compared to every pose is dynamic and different, like how it is here. Like it's essentially like, yeah, you're seeing real angles and stuff. That's what you want. And the result that we get out of it, though, by doing a variation subtle with just the character reference, keep in mind, is we get a Michael-like character replacing the existing like characters that are there. So this is hilarious to me. I think especially the third result is funniest to me because it just him talking so closely to the sandwich is just, to me it's evoking him going like, I hate you so much, and then he eats it. Like there's something like that. I just I can see something going on with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the differences between the one that we ran character reference on and the original. And you guys are okay. Gargoyles complaining about the show he is watching on TV. Okay, great. I loved Gargoyles as a kid. That was a great show. But I want you guys to see this here. So we'll take a closer look at this one, and the original. Okay. So here's the original, right? It's like a red-headed character. He's wearing a striped shirt, all that stuff. And he's a big burger that no one would eat. It's like, it's insanely big. But if we do a variation subtle, now the composition is saved, but but not only is Michael mostly in there now, but it even made more sense of some of the existing imagery, including the burger that he's holding in his hand. His thumb and his fingers are very wrong here, but that is easily fixed with an inpaint, So you could see compositions are largely the same between these two, but the but it's the context that's changed. So, and I believe I Troll for You also did a variation strong. So let's take a look. There it is. And with variation strong, it doesn't preserve the compositions, but it's preserving the general kind of like output, right? So the paneling, the look and whatnot, like, and character reference is always going to put the same person talking to each other. So it's like they're talking to a bunch of clones. I do have an idea for a comic that I have to wait until September 22nd of this year to release. I say that I have to wait for that because, like, if you guys are familiar with my comic series at all here, actually, let me zoom in again just to show you guys this. So my comic series, Tumbling Up, is my most popular series. It's about Sage, who is based off my wife. And essentially, this is a story that is set 30 years in the past to the day. So when I was releasing this, it was April 1st. It was April Fool's Day. So I'm essentially trying to tell a real-time story, but in the past, right? So eventually there'll be a reason for that, and you guys will see what that reason is. I can't wait to do that reveal, but we're nowhere near that date yet. But on September 22nd of this year, Friends came out in 1994. So September 22nd, 1994. There is a very well-known scene from Friends. I believe it is the first season. I have to double check it. But where there's why am I blanking on his name? But one of them keeps yelling pivot. It's Ross. That's right. Ross keeps yelling pivot, 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 pivot. And I'm laughing at the idea of basically cloning Ross and doing an episode that's like a clone. Like basically I'm going to call it Too Many Rosses. And just have an entire Friends episode where Ross gets or Joey or Ross, I don't know which one should do it. One of them gets a cloning machine, and it's a spoof of a Roiland bit. Actually, he came up with the idea of too many Crosbys, not Crosbys, too many Cosbys, and and there was some controversies that came out of that, but it made me laugh so hard that I think I want to do the Friends equivalent of that. Okay. All right. So I noticed what Boken is doing, and I noticed that you guys are loving it. So let's go ahead and dig into it real quick. Okay. Comic book panels, a red panda that is fascinated with gargoyles. T3, Niji 6 style raw. Immediately cute, right? I mean, like insanely cute. This is the kind of stuff that makes some of my art friends get really angry. It is stupid cute, very well done, very, very funny. But a red panda that's fascinated with gargoyles, again, you just keep re-rolling it and you just keep getting these kind of like fascinating interactions, right? I really, really like the fourth one, and I know you already upraised it because he's in a little hand. He's in a little hand, and it's cute. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff where you go like, okay, let me take the time and make it look good, but also let me make it make sense. You know what I mean? Like, for this one, for example, I'm sure that someone might mess with this one because it's just too damn cute. Is it season 5? Is it really season 5? That's how long I have to wait to do the damn pivot joke.
Yeah, that's from the official Friends YouTube channel, which credits it as season 5.
Okay. Well, I'm still gonna do one on the day the show airs, but I will focus on so that I have to wait till freaking 2029 in order to make that stupid joke. Okay, that's fine. But at least the show comes out.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's coming out in like 6 years. Okay, so the thing is this mid-panel section doesn't make much sense, right? So we can either just rerun this by selecting that area and going, all right, what else do you think happened here? But you could make it that another character is interacting with the red panda because the red panda is a product of itself. It's constantly reiterating on whatever's in the prompt, right? So let's put a new character in there. I want to make someone holding the red panda. So I'm gonna say cref, and I'll bring him because we were just talking about Michael. I'll bring in Sage from home. So this is the cutesy Sage. This is the Sage that what happened here? Character is supposed to be an image URL. It should be an image URL. Why is it giving me hassle? Let's do Sage Office, and I'll figure out why that is happening here in a minute. Sage Office. Oh, that's right, I did. Thank you, Legal Beagle. Sage Home. I forgot the hyphen. There you go. And we'll submit that. Failed to fetch. Okay, Sage Office. That's probably because I let's see what I did.
I think they might have messed something up. I will check with them because I was trying that earlier. It didn't work either.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and pull it up the /prefer without doing it as an in-paint because I agree with the AC. I've had problems with it before when it comes to the last couple days. In painting and rerolls with hyphen preferred settings will sometimes not work. So let's just get Sage really quick. So Sage home hyphen Sage home, and then need G6 just because she always prompts a need G6. Oh yeah, it's the image prompt. Sold to her. I'll just put a pronoun in there. If you want generally not a ton of influence on the character result, you can do a blend like this where it's just here, give me the link, give me the thing. But you notice this doesn't look much like the top left is kind of like Sage, but most of them aren't Sage because what it's actually happening here is only 50% of the result is the image reference, is the character reference like image, and the other 50% is her, just pronoun her, the general concept of that pronoun. So now when I reroll this and I switch this link to a cref, it will work perfectly in terms of maintaining and retaining like the character style and definition. So, and hi, it's good to see you, Legal Bill. Thank you for immediately coming in and helping me out. Thank you for that. But you can see it's perfect. It did a great job bringing Sage from home back. And she's wearing a 90s sweater, by the way, these oversized sweaters. I just ordered that on Amazon. I found someone making this sweater. So I'll definitely be wearing that. But let's go ahead and take this link. We will go to this red panda we were in painting earlier. There we go. And because even if it fails, like it still saves the region that we in painted, so that's good. I'm going to select where it says Sage Office because that wasn't working earlier. And we will then submit this character reference as an in-paint, as just the section of it. And we haven't given any description. We're just running off the prompt as is. So it's probably going to turn her into a red panda. It'll probably make her a gargoyle. Who knows what's going to happen when it comes to that. Changing the prompt like parameters is important. Yes. But the thing is that your character reference is so much more powerful than anything that's written in your prompt, which is why the character weights are so important. Okay. So you can see here, we generally have Sage looking down at something that would be in her hand, which is completely inferred on, like completely her being fascinated with the gargoyle. There's no reason why she would be looking down without the context that it's in her hands. And it's because it's all within the visual imagery here. It's amazing, like mind blowing, actually. So let's try to do that with a lower character reference. So I do a bit of a wash on, wash off method. Okay. So I'll do character weight of 0, hyphen character weight 0. And then after like I let Midjourney really, really go nuts on the composition and posing of the character, I will then rerun it with a character weight of 100 or 90 or something really high as an in-paint. So I'm only fixing some parts of the image. Like most likely her outfit will not be the same. Like it'll be, a red striped hoodie, or maybe her hair is white, that kind of stuff. That is far more likely by having a lower character weight to be true, but we didn't really get a ton of diversity in this one. So we will try to reinforce maybe an image of someone holding something, or actually write in the prompt that we want her holding something. So let's go ahead and hit vary region again. I'm going to keep the character weight at 0, just so that our prompt is the main influence, like the absolute influence, but we're still getting something close to our character. I'm going to write comic panels depicting a blonde woman holding a small creature in her hands. And then I'll just submit that. Remember, our character weight is set at 0. So that means that any of the poses and stuff that are inside of our character reference are going to generally not be respected. It'll only respect the general face and like disposition. Like I would say the disposition is mostly preserved between results. But the when it comes to like really getting this right, like really honing this stuff in, sometimes it takes also providing an image that like is about the right like composition for what you're in painting. So like you can see here, it's again, we don't see her hands. We don't see, it's not a very big area, mind you. We are working with a pretty constrained area for the panel. But I might be able to get away with saying, let's say like a bird in the hand. I know that's like a turn of phrase or something, but like, let's do a, let's grab this bird. Let's just grab the bird. And I'm going to grab the link for it. And I'm going to paste that link just to confirm that it's a JPEG. Yep. It can be a PNG, a GIF, or whatever. And yes, GIFs do work, but they only pick the first frame from the GIF. Just heads up on that. Okay. So now we'll come back to the prompt, hit vary region again. And I'm going to now paste this image of the bird in the hand to the front of this prompt here. And hopefully what this is going to do is it's going to basically blend these concepts together and try to get us a image of a hand and then Sage's face in the background, kind of looking at something really small, right? That's what I'm expecting, or at least hoping for here. And if not, then we can evoke it even more. It will not pre-composite for you. What I mean by that is that like her face being behind her hand, it's most likely not going to happen because there's no face behind the hand inside of the image that we're blending. So we're just going to have to see what we get off of this. Okay, so we got the bird, which is not what we wanted. We got a little bit of, we got some weirdness here, but there's still more options. There's always more options. We're going to hit vary region. But this time, instead of maxing out our character weight, our image weight in order to retain the exact composition of the image, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to drop the image weight. So let's try to like 0.03. And I tend to drop image weights a lot when doing this sort of image injection method like that. If you've read my tutorial, you're very familiar with what I mean by injection. It just means taking an image that doesn't include a picture and then including a picture either as a variation subtle, a strong, or even now as like a character reference or anything like that. Those are all injections because you are effectively manipulating an existing composition and then giving it a new context or whatever. My whole tutorial is kind of focused on those things, but look at this. Okay. So we got a hand, holding out like the bird or whatever, but it's now in the style of the rest of the comic because the image weight is so low. Okay. So, I'm going to say that the fourth one is probably the best that we're going to have for just kind of getting us a, in the hand kind of thing. Where we almost, my temptation here is to do like the Pillsbury Doughboy thing, where he's just like poke the little angry panda, like in the hand. But it's fun seeing Sage skateboarding. That's hilarious. But we can now come into here and in paint without the character reference now in order to try to get the little red panda to show up in the hand. So, let's take out a bunch of parameters. So we're going to take out the image weight, take out the character weight, and the character reference. So these three are going to go. I'm also going to take out the image blend or the image at the front of the prompt. Now we're back to just text. Okay. And I'm going to say depicting there's no blonde woman in there yet. So we're going to remove that for now. And we're going to say holding a small creature in her hands. And just saying small creature probably is adding a little bit of like funkiness. So I'm going to say red panda. I'm going to say tiny. A tiny red panda. Tiny red panda in her hands. And then I'm going to just generally select this area here. I'm always going to select a little bit extra. But as long as it can go, okay, that looks like it's a hand, then it'll fill in the rest of it fine. So we'll let this go. And submit. Sorry, my chair is a little creaky and my mic is new, so you can hear every little creak from my chair. I apologize about that. And look what happens.
I kind of like it, honestly.
Well, is it like an ASMR for you?
I don't know. I just, it adds to the realism of talking to a human cartoon,
Right. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of funny when I lean back though, because it makes me look like I'm just like crunching my spine.
Mm-hmm. It gives you your cartoon chair sound effects.
Yeah.
When you lean back and stuff like that.
But look at this. We got it. So on the first result, literally on the first result, we got them hanging out in the hand. Okay. I was talking to one of the artists from a fantasy series that we're working on right now called Phantasma. And we'll have a different name or an official name for the series here soon. But at least one of the things that came up was we were talking about breakthrough moments, like moments where we were like, this is this everything's a little different now. It's a bit better. And it wasn't character referencing actually. The moment really came because of the handstand. When we were doing prompting for specific poses and stuff, it's a huge limiter within character referencing to go, okay, the head is always above the shoulders. But then if you switch it to character weight 0, it's very tough to get it to be like, okay, yeah, I want to do a handstand, but I want it to be essentially what I'm saying here is that we got some really dynamic posing that ended up being like really beneficial for us in terms of referencing later. Like if we needed a character to be stumbling or falling, especially, we need their head below their legs, they're below their feet, and character referencing won't do that on its own. It needs a little bit of help for that. So
I think image referencing is huge when it comes to that.
Yes, exactly. And so you take say a ballerina pose, right? So I'll do that with Sage here really quick so you guys can see. First, I need to come up and grab Sage from you guys. Let's double check this is it here. Yep. All right. So that's Sage at home. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get her to pose. And I'll get to your question here in just a minute, Dimitri. But let's do a image and then cref and then her link and Niji, just so we get an anime aesthetic. Let's try to get Sage to do something that she's not normally doing. So let's do a ballerina pose. It's probably pretty standard stuff, but there's a good chance that we are going to get her in a dress too, which is not canon, but that's fine. I'm curious if Midjourney will let us use this image. There's always a chance that image filters apply. So we'll go ahead and submit this. and then say ballerina pose. Actually, let's just do her again. Let's see just how much influence the image actually has. Okay. All right. So I'm going to answer a question here while that's running. Demetria said, how do you get multiple characters together? So you can prompt for multiple characters at any time to get two different people in an image. You just ask for two people. But here's the thing about that. If you want to start using character referencing, you're always going to get the same person no matter how many times or how many of them there are. So if I say, and we'll get into the ballerina pose here in a minute, but if I say with a character reference of Sage here, let's just do a talking with a coworker. This is a prompt that will forcibly evoke a second person to be with her, talking with a coworker. And what is essentially going to happen is we're going to see Sage talking to Sage, or you're going to see Sage looking like she's kind of talking to Sage. Usually it's a mix of those two. Yeah, whatever this rail grind with a 6-wheel set skateboard is super goofy and fun. It kind of looks like Fortnite, like the rail system in that game. Grinding. All right, we're almost ready here. Is it goofy footed? I don't know. All right, so look here. We have two sages talking in an office space together. They're even holding hands and doing that kind of stuff, right? But we probably don't want this unless we're doing some weird clone story, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to up-res one of these, and let's get Michael to pet Sage's head just because we can. Actually, no, you know what would be more condescending would be Vicky doing it. So let's go ahead and get Vicky in here. So first thing I got to do is get Vicky because I don't know if the slash prefers are going to work for her yet. So let's just do -- Vicky and EG6 just to get Vicky's links here. And then I'm going to do vary region. I'm going to select everything that is not Vicky, right? So that's just going to be this one hand that's sitting here, and the pant legs. I'm going to leave the pants. Even if it's not perfectly like how her clothing is, I need something to frame the position or the actual what do you call it? Position of the character in the composition here. If I were to select all the legs, including her hand that's here and stuff, and just wing it, he could easily be like outside the window reaching in through an open window to pet her head as opposed to standing right next to her. So I only want to inpaint what I really need to right now. And I'm going to now change the character reference from Sage to Michael. And then, that's right. No, we're doing Vicky. That's right. Paste and Vicky. There you go. And submit. Vicky is a combination of a lot of different prompts, a lot of different images and stuff, but she will very reliably be this kind of bitchy girl with big glasses. She is modeled off of me. I'm allowed to say that because I'm a bitch. It is entirely me before I got LASIK surgery. In terms of the attitude, everything else, like, yeah, I relate a lot to Vicky. But we want to see here. It made her leaning down. Okay, hold on. This is too funny. Okay, a couple awkward poses. Yes, there's a couple awkward poses, but we got this kind of like condescending lean from her. Wait, that's not the one I up-resed? Okay, no, that's someone else up-resed. Okay, so we got this kind of condescending lean here. So I'm going to lean into it And I'm going to select everything that's wrong about this. So let's go ahead and make it like she's leaning on her desk. Okay. And I will go ahead and submit this, but her hip's a little weird here. Like that it's like almost like she has an impossibly bendy spine here, but that's fine. Let's just go ahead and submit this and try to correct a little bit of this arm and stuff that's here. Really funny though. She is grabbing her hip here, and then the other hand's grabbing Sage. So it just makes me think that we need to change up a couple things here. Okay. Let's see here. Going back to the ballerina bit here, you could see that, and I see that you linked a bunch of different figure pose drawings here as well. So this is from Kinky, and it is a bunch of just figures and poses that you can use as your image blends, so that you can get closer. Now, if the subject is very far, very alien from what you're doing, like for example, like any of these animals, and you're going to get a fur, you're going to get something in between these things. So instead, what I like to do for this anyway is I'll try to max out the image blend and then replace the assets with the character that whatever went wrong with. So let's do an image weight of 3. Remember, this is the ballerina one. So we're going to probably see some weirdness come up because of this, but that will effectively force as much of the image as possible to constrain to the image prompt. Whatever you guys are doing with this kind of like pull-up bar exercise, Sage, is too cute. I saw it earlier. Hold on. Yes. It almost looks like she's like struggling to use a pull-up bar here. That's the interpretation I get for it. It's just like, my arms hurt. I can't do it anymore. It's kind of funny too because of the comic recently. But let's take a look at what the original pose is. Okay. So we have this kind of like standing on tiptoes, that kind of thing. And we effectively only got some of the arm, a little bit of the arm pose, but not much. It's just very loosely guiding this result. And that is because this is the essentially the maximum amount that we could influence it with the character weight set at default or at 100. Now watch what happens if I drop this character weight to 0. And remember, I have the image weight at max. So the image weight that this IW code is only applying to the first link that's in this prompt here. That's the only thing this parameter is applying to. The character reference, however, has no parameter attached to it right now, and that's because it's at default or 100. So what will be coming out of this will be essentially saying, yeah, give me like generally a blonde woman that's kind of in a similar style, but listen to everything else more than that. And that is so much closer down to the outfit, right? I mean, pretty ballerina body, that kind of stuff. Like it is certainly true that you can get to some really weird and interesting places using image blends. I'll leave it at that. It's so much fun to be able to keep digging, keep diving and finding interesting things. And do a barrel roll. That's what I see here. Do a barrel roll. If there's not any millennial, there's probably a couple millennials. Come on. But I can't get over the Star Fox 64 do a barrel roll. Like it's still one of my like go-to memes, honestly. So yeah. That's the Sage equivalent to that anyway. Okay. All right. The last thing I'm going to update here before I try to bring on Rhapsody and X-Men 97. Nice. I haven't watched it yet, but my wife enjoyed it. But what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna show you guys one thing real quick. I kept it at the end here because she did feature Sage in one of her comics, and I'm very obviously I appreciate that heavily. But I want to talk to her. I want to get some time with her. What is this, Boken? What are you doing? Juan. I don't understand. I don't understand these memes. I don't about today's humor. What does that mean? Okay. Yeah, what exactly? I feel the exact same way, Legal Beagle. Okay. Let me just put it this way. I specifically kept this at the end of the stream because I didn't really want to focus too much on prompting off of her art today. I will ask her permission to do it more how can I say, like, more directly with you guys. But my friend ATC, she goes by the name Awkward Toilet Carpet on Reddit. She's great. She has some of the best expressions, in my opinion, like some of the best expressions in the game right now. And I am so thankful for her because not only did she get a massive comic blown up with Sage on the first panel, by the way. Okay, there we go. Not only did she get Sage on the first page here, this comic is hilarious. I'm gonna have to voice it for you guys real quick. So I sent you a surprise. I'll check it out in just a minute. And after we get the comic through here, I was gonna bring you in anyways. So Miss Teacher, I have a question. What do you want to be in the future? I want to be loved. Cool. I want to be a fish. This stupid panel is so freaking funny. Her arms being in the shirt, like, you know, like as if you're like just pretending or what, like, there's too many funny things about this. And I didn't even get all of them right off the bat. Okay. Like, this is why she's so good at what she does. Okay. The arms are in the jacket. Yes. Legal Beagle nailed it. It's the fact that the single pant leg, okay, she shoves both legs into the single pant leg to make it look more like a flopping fish with the fins. That's hilarious. Okay. But here's the part that I didn't even see right away is that she changed her hairstyle to also evoke a fish. Okay. So like the whole thing is just, it's just the Magikarp meme. But it is so freaking funny to me. Like this broke me, but it also broke Reddit because she got nearly 30,000 upvotes for that. And it's like less than a day. Maybe it's about a day old now. This made me laugh so hard. And I'm so thankful for her for literally starting this comic with Sage, Tiff, and Eve. Just all together, having a great time as kids. And I love that so much. So that's my little like shout out. But thank you so much for joining today. And if there is any questions or anything like that, just join us at the after show. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys so much and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.